Alrighty. Hey, how you guys doing out here? James Humphrey with another episode of Real Talk with Real Men. I got Kyle, I got D-Mac coming back with us, and today we are talking about financial discipline.
Yes, sir.
What to do and what not to do with your money.
Yes, sir.
When is it good to buy shit and when it's not good to buy shit? Okay. You know, the typical, I got bills, I got family, I got kids, so I can't get that video game just yet type of shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we've all been there. Where are we with financial discipline? You know, what are the do's and don'ts of what to do with when you made it big? I think my biggest thing with financial discipline is when all the bills are paid, everything is taken care of, you want to go flaunt some shit. You know what I mean? So you want to go buy something, you know, want to get the money burning in your pocket, but you're thinking, I should probably save it for something else.
Yeah.
Save it for this, save it for that. So I think my biggest thing on financial discipline is being very frugal with what you're spending on. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because you got those extra few dollars. You know what I mean? You say, should I get the chicken or the fish? You know, should I go back? Should I go up to the lobster? You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? So. It's for me, it's more or less about just being very frugal on what you're spending your money on. You know what I mean?
On your day-to-day basis?
Yeah, day-to-day basis.
Okay.
You know, saving up for bigger plans, bigger things in that nature. You know what I mean?
Are you a travel kind of guy?
I actually am not.
Okay.
I actually am not. I do so much traveling with Lyft that I don't.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
It's enough for the city.
I've been
Right.
out there in the
Sometime.
desert and everywhere else, and so it's
Okay.
like I don't want to travel.
So what's that like big purchase when you do actually? What's something that you like?
I like my fish, and I like my barbecue too.
Okay, so food.
So yeah, food is kind of
indulgence.
big for
Okay.
me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with the barbecue around here,
Okay.
and it's so close to
I
the
can
house.
understand that.
It's so close to the house, man. It gets really bad. 'cause
Temptation becomes.
Yeah. You know, so that's like $30 to $45 a plate because you know that shit gets expensive.
Yes.
Because I usually buy enough to last me a couple of days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to eat the whole fucking platter in
Yeah.
that one day. You know what I
How
mean?
you
So
do on the grill? You don't
No, I don't cook, man. I don't cook, man.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I live in that apartment complex, so I can't really cook.
Okay.
You know, can't really cook out
Okay.
side or anything like that, man. Having all kind of homeless people like, what you got there, man? Like,
That food vice is dangerous.
like
though.
chill, man. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
So, yeah, not a traveler. And then I'm always so focused on the business, so I'm always thinking about buying new cameras and things of that nature. So my financial discipline actually got really good these last couple of years since I started the business. So
Right.
that's
Keeping
good.
that in mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
More or less just focusing on the goals on what you want compared to the things that give you pleasure now. What's it called? Delayed gratification.
Yes.
So I think that's like the biggest thing when it comes to financial discipline is delayed gratification.
Yes.
Everybody always wants instant gratification. Like they get a
Uh-huh.
raise, they want to buy a new car. They get a raise, they want to buy this, they want to buy
Right.
that. It's like if you hold off for like 3 to 6 more months, you'd be surprised at how much money you can have,
Yeah.
and then you could afford that big trip to Germany or wherever
Right.
you want to go. You know what
And
I
not
mean?
be close to a buying point.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense. But like, so at what point do you really like spend your money on something that you enjoy to do though?
Just frivolous.
Yeah. I mean, cause you had those spur of the moments where it's like, you know what, I want these shoes. Like it's gonna like you see them and they get you more than you want them. So next thing you know, you at the register. So
Right.
Yeah. And so
that impulse buy, like
Yeah.
for me, I've never been really big on those kind of things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? For me, it was always video games. You know,
Mhm.
I had a PlayStation, buying the new game, that's $60 a pop.
okay,
all
so
that
that's
other
what
stuff.
interests you. But
Yeah.
what about that game that dropped? And like, okay, so GTA
Yeah.
6 coming out. So what about when that dropped?
Oh, so that's what I say. You got to have that mental discipline. I actually I went away with video games 2 years ago when I started the business. Like I sold
Oh, okay.
certain things and got rid of it to actually buy for other things like microphones and stuff like that.
I can dig it. I can
Yeah,
dig
so
it.
it's more or less, if anything,
Priorities.
it's sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, you got to sacrifice that stuff that you want for the goals that you want later on down the road. If anything, you know, that's more or less where it comes down to.
But at the same time, if you do have a structured system to how you manage your money, and you still have like that's something that you put to the side.
I always tell myself like
when
like,
do you not
you know
get
when it,
into
you know
that?
what I
You
mean?
feel me?
Because
That's what I'm getting to. Like,
you find yourself with extra money every now and then, because then as you're looking at certain things, the prices goes down. It's like you're saving
Yeah.
a few bucks here and there. You can always find something cheaper on Amazon.
True.
You know what I mean? So you always find that those little things where you can actually get something extra. And then again, for me, it was food. So it's like, okay, I don't have to keep eating ramen noodles and boiled eggs every damn day. I can actually splurge and get something nice.
Yeah.
So we can sit down tonight.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I can order the platter, and not just get just the rib. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's more or less a sacrifice. Having that delayed gratification, knowing that you're building something bigger than what you have now, is another big thing. Especially for me, because then I did splurge, got a new car instead of getting like a used car. But then at the end of the day, buying a brand new car is gonna last you longer than buying a used car with all the other stuff that goes wrong with it. You know what I mean? So it's more or less being smart and making smarter financial decisions or financial decisions that's going to last you in the long run compared to something that's short term.
Short-lived gratitudes and things like that.
It makes sense.
Okay.
Another thing is just reading.
Yeah.
Honestly, like getting your financial IQ up, reading books on saving, reading books on what the actual delayed gratification is when it comes to building wealth and things of that nature.
Educating yourself.
That helped me a lot too when it came to my finances. Because then, dude, in your 20s, you get that extra dollar, you spend it. You know what I mean? But then you learn to save it, and then you see the next month you save it, and then next thing you got $2, $3, whatever, and then that literally that compound interest really does build up to something that you want that's bigger.
Okay.
You know
May
what I
I ask, how do you actively save? Like, what does that look like for you?
Oh, that's a good question.
What does that work actually look like? Because
So-
I'll tell people to save all the time, and I'll preach it myself, but
So here's
sometimes I don't. So what do you actually do to save?
So
Is
here's-
it 20 every week?
Here's the thing with saving, and it's actually it's a trick more or less to it. When you're saving money, you're not just putting money in the bank. You know what I mean? You're actually saving it for a purpose that's going to make more money, if that makes sense. So for me, when I'm saving money, I'm actually putting it in a fund or whatever to buy something that's going to make more money. Like if I'm buying a new camera, I know this new camera is going to make better videos and things of that nature. The idea,
So it's more of an investment.
it's more or less
Gaining
investment.
assets. and
Yeah,
things
so
like that.
if anything, you really don't want to have a savings account. You actually want to have an investing account. You want to have money that's literally saved to make more money compared to just money that's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'll give you a pretty good example, or more or less, not even an example, it's an analogy. So most people, they save money for rainy days, right? They're like, oh, this happens, I got money here, but this happens, that money here. The thing with that analogy or that concept is that it rains for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So whether you are saving for the tire or not, the tire's going to blow out anyway. You know you're going to need to buy a new tire. So you have to have like the mental discipline to, even though I got this money over here, whatever rainy is going on over here, I'm still not going to spend that money. You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you got to weather the storm.
Yeah. You got to, you're more or less fighting through the storm, knowing that on the other end of it, you still got this money for
So
whatever you
speaking
need.
of weather the storm, because I know like the economy is sways, but like how should a person manage their finances as far as inflation is, like with everything going up? Because you can't have the same
How
budget.
do you combat that?
Yeah, like, because I mean, a lot of people, they probably had a system into play, and then how is that going to work for them now with everything going up, food's going up, gas is going up? Like, nothing's going to cost the same, but you're getting paid the same.
Yep.
Add income, add revenue, multiply your revenue streams.
But when you got jobs shutting down, like, it's so many restaurants and everything
Gotta
is
keep your
closing
eyes
down.
open for opportunity. Traditional jobs, you might have to think of something inventive.
But I'm speaking for, like, I mean, for the average common man that just works like a,
That applies.
Like-
you gotta be.
It's exactly what Kyle's saying. You make more money.
Yeah.
You should never be in a standstill where you're
I
not
got
making more
motion. I got
money.
motion. I'm
You know what I mean?
just.
No, I'm just saying, just in general. Just in general. So you always want to have some sort of passive income that is increasing to where you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So whether it's either a website or a trade or something like that, you always want to have. You always want to be building up to some sort of passive income. And then
Self-running system.
Yeah, and then you build on that as you're doing whatever it is that you're doing.
See, I got this thing where I say I'm paying myself. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
everything is a bill. So at the same time, I have to treat myself the same way. I have to put $20 into my own set.
Right.
Whatever I have left, I have to at least pay myself and then handle it. You know what I'm saying? Handle everything else and pay myself. Because I mean, like you said, that's like rainy day or however you want to explain it. But I mean, if you got that put up, the tire blowing out, this and that, it's like, okay, the money that I've been paying myself opposed to what I've put in investments, what I've handled with my bills, what I've handled with my career, you know, because all that's in the play inevitable. That's inevitable. I mean, you're gonna have to do that regardless, unless you just, you know what I'm saying, you don't
Let
want
things fall
stuff.
apart.
Yeah,
Right?
you don't want that in life.
Yep.
But you know, the person who's really got goals and they really got that drive. I mean, those things are inevitable to get the things you want. So you have to have that sense to pay yourself. Because people will forget, like, okay, they'll feel like I've handled everything, but
Yeah,
really
you gotta
haven't
put
if
nothing
you've
aside
done
for
all
yourself.
this work, but you haven't treated yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, even if it's the smallest amount, always take some to pay yourself. Yeah.
I have to take heed of that because
Yeah.
I am the reverse minded. I'm always take care of everyone and everything before myself. And it comes from family dealings. And I, try and make other motherfuckers happy and be serving and that type of shit. To where
Can I get
I'll
that
buy
bag of Skittles,
birthday
Daddy?
presents and holiday gifts and all that type shit. I'll bring people together for meals and dinners and shit like that before I buy new shoes for myself. It'll be some simple shit and I won't buy it for myself, but I'll be to spend a lot of money on some other stuff, like making sure other people enjoy themselves. Getting out of that because I created a family, so I have to serve my family first and foremost now.
What's that?
I had to diversify. One, I just had to start saving for myself initially before paying other bills or paying other people. I had to start doing that on purpose, intentional thing. And then I had to diversify what I saved. It can't just be traditionally taking a couple of dollars out and putting it under the bed or some shit like that, or putting it in the closet. Yeah, actually, I started an investment account. Start your stash in a Robinhood. I started that shit like about 4 years ago now. Putting money in there, and even if you don't invest it in anything, you can still gain a little interest off of it, just putting it somewhere safe. So, investing, adding that to my working skills, investing in just 401k and wherever you have a job. If you're not self-employed, if you have 401k options through your employer, invest in 401k. That's money you don't even see that's going away for your future self. I had to, I've always utilized that, but for the longest time I never had anything important to spend it on. Now that I have more family-minded expenses and car repairs and shit like that, 401k money comes in handy because you can borrow against it sometimes. If you exit an employer, you can withdraw the full amount. And a lot of people don't know what are the capabilities of a 401k account and don't utilize it at all. And it's like, God, that's just your money sitting there for you. Like, you should definitely try and use that.
Education that they need to educate themselves on things that they can't do with their own money.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to, dive into something and be new at it. Be unexperienced at it.
Basically, it's there for you. Use it.
I think another big thing when it comes to financial discipline is when people do come across more money or raises or things of that nature, they raise their standard of living.
Yes.
And I know that was kind of a big thing for me because, like, you get more money, you want to get a bigger place, you want to get a car, you want to do this and do that. But you always kind of want to live off that 70% of your income while you use that other 30% for investments and things of that nature. I think that would have helped me.
If you can.
Yeah, if you can. That would have helped me a long time ago when I started all this. Because I didn't have that extra money, so I was selling a bunch of shit to make up for that extra money. But then if I would have just stayed in the place I was staying while I still got those raises, that extra money could have been put towards something that's already, or something I could have had then instead of now. You know what I mean? So another thing when it comes to financial discipline is most definitely, I guess the term is staying in your lane. You know what I mean? When you get that extra money, you get those extra raises and things of that nature. That doesn't mean you have to raise your standard of living. You know, it's perfectly fine
So you don't
staying.
gotta upgrade
Yeah,
everything.
it's
Yeah,
perfectly
right.
fine
Right.
staying where you
Upgrade the
are if you're
phone.
comfortable.
Oh,
You know, while you
yeah.
still make that extra, I don't know, $1.50, $2, wherever much money,
True.
extra money you're making.
Living within your means.
Yeah.
I would encourage everyone to discuss money. Talk to your peers and whoever you have around about money.
Yep.
An
Yeah, you don't
employer
have to-
will tell you not to discuss money because they don't want you to know what they're paying other people as opposed to you.
And that's actually not illegal. People, your employers will try to say that.
Yeah, it's not illegal
It's
at
illegal
all.
to talk to other people about how much money you're making, how much
No,
money
not
they
at all.
make. It's not illegal at all.
No, it's frowned
Okay,
upon
so
because
it's
they
not-
want to keep
Yeah.
Look,
some
that's
shadows
what-
about it. They
see,
want
yeah.
to keep it.
That's why we need to have these conversations. I didn't know that because
See.
I was informed the same way as anybody else. That
Yeah,
there's something
through
that
word
you
of
not
mouth and
supposed to
things.
do.
Yo, well,
These
they just-
common knowledge things
If-
that become common knowledge aren't factual.
It's the way they say it. It's like, don't talk to other people about your
Yeah,
about your
keep
but they
this
never
quiet.
say it's illegal to talk
Yeah.
to other people about your.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that
It's
hides
the
about
fine print.
bad business
Yeah.
practices that might be going on under the table. So
Yeah.
discuss your pay, discuss your payroll, discuss your pay rate. You know what different salaries, different positions within the organization make, because if you get a promotion, you want to be making that same salary rate as the last person that got that promotion, if not better. If you know cost of living has gone up and raises have gone up, you definitely want to make sure you're being paid appropriately for the services that you're providing.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that you're providing a service. You're not just a fucking machine. You have to have something to take home for yourself. So always be looking out for yourself in those ways. Don't just go to a job because you like the people there. Always be on the lookout for how much money am I making? Can I make more money doing the same thing somewhere else? Always be mindful of that. I watch a lot of people stay in a place what I would consider too long doing the same type of things when they could be gaining and acquiring way more finances in a shorter amount of time doing something else.
Yep.
And that's kind of a mindset that I've always had, is how can I make the most in the least amount of time or the least amount of effort? So kind of sharpening your skills with gaining money. Okay, just assuming that it's coming in is kind of cheap. You want to actually dive deeper into how are you gaining money? Are you working hours for a paycheck? Do you do
I think a lot of
intellectual
people
work
get
for a
stagnant,
paycheck?
though, with
Yeah.
with just one thing. Like some people, they get real comfortable,
Mhm.
and then it's like they don't even look to excel.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not looking,
Yeah.
to, you got to look to excel too at the same
Really
time. And don't always feel like you're just in one spot just because you've been in one spot for a period of time. You got to at least have a mind state of thinking to work for yourself at some point.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's really about. You're gonna get what they give you if you don't have the mindset to, I'm gonna get it on my own.
Own something.
To some extent.
Exactly.
Now, everything is a stepping stone. It's not gonna fall from the sky, so I can understand.
Mhm.
I can understand having, like you said, 401ks and stuff to get you to where you need to be. But as the way the world is now, educating yourself on like social media and how to monetize and exploit, like you said, you want to make the most you can out of what you already do on a daily. So you want to exploit yourself as much as you can. And I know that sounds kind of bad, but
No, it's just the word exploiting being connotated that way.
yeah, but the way everything is nowadays is kind of like surveyed, surveillance, a lot of surveillance going on. A lot of people want to know more in depth to what a person is. So, I mean, if you can exploit yourself in the correct way, and like this is a part of exploiting ourselves, but
True.
if you can gain the exposure that you need, you can make
It's where
revenue
it
off
serves
being
you in a
yourself
positive way.
and push positivity instead of just kind of being one track minded and becoming like you said, like a machine, just stuck in one spot. That's not where it's at. A lot of people fall short to just like, oh, I got this job, this is where I'm at, and then it's just entry level. Even if you want to excel in your job, think to excel in your job.
Yeah.
Think to become management. Find ways to become a lead and then work your way up. If you do plan on being there and having that 401k, don't just be entry level the whole way and just ride your 401k. You want to build as much as you can into that so you can retire at a younger age and not have to sit there and be there until you're a senior citizen and then go try to have fun with life. And it's like you never know how much time you got left. So
I think a big factor in that though is like the difference in just personal personality of, am I going to be an achiever or am I kind of a cruiser? Like, I'm just going to couch surf type, just mediocre is enough for me. And that, I don't want that to sound bad, but some people are mediocre minded. Yeah. Whatever is average, that's good enough for me. Because I don't want to have to put too much effort into keeping myself in check.
Success doesn't have any measurements. Yeah, success don't got measurements.
Yeah, and they're satisfied with that.
But you definitely have to have goals.
Yeah.
And a lot of people really don't have set goals.
True.
They just think, I have to have shelter. I have to have
survival kind of.
Yeah, they think survival. They don't really think to have goals and obtain the things that they want. They see things that they want, but it's more of a far-fetched than obtainable. So if we can have these conversations and people can really have the motivation to, okay, my goals are attainable, or those things that I really want that I feel like I can't get, I can really have if I apply myself.
So you got to make the work realistic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You might have the idea, fantasize of, I want to be in this house, but what does the work look like to get it?
Yeah.
And make it realistic for yourself. I can't work 1,000 hours in one day.
Yeah.
But I can do a little bit over here, and then I can sell a little bit of this stuff. I can
that's all
get a job over here, and I can
manifest it.
Yeah. Exactly. You have to do the real work, and then you're going to have to tighten up on your restraint, not spend everything at the same time as you're trying to gain. Yep. It's a lot of self-control into being successful by whatever definition you want to, measure by. So that self-control factor, a lot of people don't want to put in the work of, one, knowing yourself, to know this is a weakness for me. Investing in yourself to learn about what is a strength for you. What do you find easy, and what do you connect with people easiest with? Some people don't like public speaking, but can draw their ass off. And it's like, man, I could be a phenomenal painter, but how am I going to sell the paintings? I can make a dope cheeseburger, but how am I going to sell the cheeseburger type shit? So just always think about your angles on, how can I make this pay? How can I make anything pay? Because anything can pay. You just have to be creative. And that's kind of that separation of, am I going to be mediocre and just settle with what's given? A regular life and the average things, as long as I got food, water, shelter, I'm okay. Yeah. Or do you want to attain things to where, okay, my son doesn't have to work as hard as I did. I'm changing a generational working path. I might be providing a asset to future generations by starting this business. It doesn't just have to stop with me. And even more so, it could affect the community. It could be something that's positive that other people attract to, that becomes bigger than what you imagine. So pouring into that, and I don't know, always looking for just the ways that you can be impactful with money in mind instead of wasted time. Like, even when we hanging out, this could easily be construed as hanging out with me, because this is just conversation with my fellas.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we getting paid off of it, and we putting help out there into the community. So like, it's three other things going on at the same time as we just bullshitting and talking right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you keep a mindset of, okay, while I'm over here chilling, I could actually be making money off of this, or I could be making a opportunity, because opportunity is just as good as money sometimes. I can make opportunity, I can make connections with certain people that can become resources. Always have a mindset of, how am I going to make this benefit me? You start thinking like that, dude, money's going to follow you, because you always rub hands with people that have some connection to money, and if they like you, they going to put you in contact with some money.
Yes, sir.
So be approachable, be affable, work on your personal traits. Don't be an asshole that's hard to approach, because that will cut you off from a lot of money.
Like, I mean, you could be firm on your opinions and stand on it, but like, you gotta be cordial in business, really. Approachable at the same time. But if you ain't somebody that's like, if I don't feel comfortable with speaking with you, then how can I feel comfortable with doing business with you? So like,
being vulnerable with finances, which is something people rarely talk about in the first place. So it's like, to be comfortable talking about money with you, you got to be an intimate relationship. So and being more knowledgeable, researching makes you, or allows you to be more comfortable. You get to a state of comfortability by practice,
speaking the same language
repetition.
as somebody. If you don't
Looking at it.
if you talking to somebody about business and you ain't speaking the business language,
Yeah.
that automatically makes the conversation because it's like, wait a minute.
I don't think you're following me.
Yeah,
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Feel you on that one. I'm gonna go ahead and end the episode there. I got D-Mac, I got Kyle, and there's me. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Real Talk with Real Men. But before that, we're gonna answer some questions.
Yes.
Questions.
Talk to us. Talk to us.
Oh my God. So this first one, this first one's a big one. Is your self-worth determined by where you live, your career, or how much you earn?
No. A person can have everything and be depressed. So, no.
I say your self-worth is off your diet. And I don't say diet as in what you eat. Diet is more as what you endure.
Yeah.
What you allow yourself
Yes.
to endure, it proceeds to that. So.
Yeah.
I would say it's more on, well, at least my self-worth are the things I value. Because if you don't have something that you value, then what are you worth, doing anything for?
What's
you know
the
what I mean?
purpose?
Yeah, especially when it comes to like your career and how much you earn. It's like, obviously I value my children, so I need to make enough and have them live comfortably if I want, them to survive and live and all this other good stuff. So I most definitely think it's more or less what you value.
Yes.
But it's most definitely not determined by how much you earn or your career. There are homeless people that think they're living life just being homeless and doing whatever.
Then it's just intangible things,
That's what I
like just
was
being
saying,
content with
diet.
yourself and your own skin. So that's
Yeah.
wealth there.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good for the the topic that we had today. Next question: at what point do you give up on your dream or goal?
Never.
I say never give up on your dreams.
Dreams
then-
or goals, you just reconstruct them.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
But then there are some goals. It's like, obviously, goals are meant to be hard enough to be achievable.
Right.
Yeah.
But there has to be a certain time frame to where you have to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
So say, I want to lose X amount of pounds by this date, and then you have to actually get up and do the work for that goal. But then,
Right.
if you get to that point, you don't hit the goal.
You need
You know
to
what I mean?
reevaluate your
Reevaluate the goal, but then it's not like the quote unquote the end of the world or the end of the dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Keep pushing.
Yeah. But then I say that, and then there are certain things where it's like, if your heart is not into it, then why are you doing it? You know what I mean? So there are certain people with certain dreams, certain goals, like, oh, I want to do this, but then the next day they want to do this, and then the next day they don't want to do this, and then they want to do all these different things. Like, pick one thing and stick with that. Or you can have multiple goals and multiple dreams, but it's like, where's the energy at? Like,
you
where
gotta
you
put the action behind.
yeah,
one
where are
thing.
you focusing
You have to focus
on
action.
what
Gotta
you're
get
doing?
tunnel vision on something.
Yeah. So I mean, there are some people. It's like, okay, you're doing so many different things. I understand it. So you need to give this one up and focus on this one if you're more passionate
go for your
about
strong
this one.
suits.
If you're not passionate about this one, then let this shit go.
Said,
You know what I
don't play
mean?
them spades and quit.
But and then you say that, I say that, and then there's some people was like, it's 20 years, you're still in your mom's basement, and you're trying to get the mixtape out. It's like, dude, I love you to death, bro, but you should probably give the
Hang
rapping
it
shit
up,
up
like, I mean-
and get out the basement and do some other shit, because
Yeah.
this shit ain't popping. Last question for this episode. Is it okay to get a certain place of your life and feel content, or should you always push for more?
You should never be satisfied.
Well, I would say it in the way of every level of achievement is going to open your eyes to other places that you want to work. So even when you think idealistically, once I have the house, the wife, the child, the dog, the car, and I got the $1 million in the bank, I'm going to be set. I'm never going to worry about money again. And it's that you're going to get there, and then health is going to be a factor for you. Or your time, just where you're spending your time, is going to be a factor for you. Or, you know what I'm saying? There's always going to be something that you're going to have to work on. So you're going to just have to change the goals. You got to evaluate your status and what you're doing and what is your purpose in that moment. Because I think our purpose kind of changes as we grow, mature, and lose and gain certain things, whether it be people, possessions, or whatever it's going to be. You have different mindsets at different times. One moment you might be all about all money all the time. Next, it might be more love. I actually want to, pursue shit with this lady. After that, it might be, well, shit, I got that stuff, or the shit with the lady didn't work out. Well, fuck, let me go right back to money, and then I want to get this big ass house. So, you know what I'm saying? You're going to change, and with those changes, just always identify where you need to focus your energy.
I most definitely think I agree with both of you. It's crazy. I agree with both of you, but I think it's more like a mindset of what you want. You know what I mean? So it's like you got the house. Mm-hmm. So what more do you want? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Do you want a bigger house? Do you work harder for a bigger house? And then once you get the bigger house, where's your mindset then? Do you want a bigger house after that? Everybody always wants more money. You know what I mean? But it's like, how much money is enough money?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like, oh, you should always push harder, push for more, whatever. But I honestly feel that it's on what purpose of what you're pushing for. Yeah. Obviously you want your kids to have more, so you're going to push more for that. You want your wife or significant other to have more, whatever that is. But it's more or less the mindset. Everybody gets that Scarface mindset where it's like, oh, I got money, I need to get more money, I need to do more stuff to get more money and all this other stuff. I most definitely feel like it's what you're pushing for. You got to ask yourself the why question, like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Because there are certain people that are completely content with the 2-bedroom house with the wife and doing everything else, and they don't want anything else. You know what I mean? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I think it's more or less just asking yourself, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I honestly feel like, I should most definitely dream as big as possible. But then how big can that dream get, and how far can I take it? You know what I mean? But sky's the limit, though.
That's why I say never be satisfied. Because, put it in the perspective of like Jordan. He got 6 rings. Yeah. He didn't stop because he won one. He didn't stop because he reached the NBA. The journey, even if you want the same thing, if the goal is even the same, it's just a different journey every time. Mm-hmm. So you just build on experience. You know what I'm saying? And you just, because it's all about memories of what you're doing. Yeah, so experience. Like even if you want that bigger house, you're going to have different memories than you had in the last bigger house. Yeah. Or in the last car. Like even if it's a faster car or slower, it's just it's a different experience. You got to experience all that you want out of life, even if it's in different ways. You got to see all angles. So and then if you stop at some point, that's when you really putting a cap on it and it becomes a conclusion. You manifest the end. You write your own story. So if you just so satisfied, I ain't saying that you bringing death upon yourself or nothing like that, but if you satisfied, what else do you got to do to wrap it up? You know what I'm saying?
I guess is there a feeling of settling if you're not pushing for more? It's like, I got the house, it's big enough, I can settle. You know what I mean?
It's a sense of accomplishment, I can understand that.
Right. Yeah. But for me, I'd be upset. I would be tired. It's always working hard, and working hard is a physical exertion of the body and type shit. Yeah. So at the end of the day, if I'm satisfied with my family taken care of and the money's being made, hopefully in a more passive manner, and we really if there's anything that I want and I can't get it immediately, I can shortly have it just by allocating the finances. When I'm at a point of that to where nothing is unmanageable, then yes, I hope to be just satisfied and content, because I feel like I just jumped on that wheel of working the blood out of yourself very early myself. Just working.
But once you reach the power of purchase, you're gonna want more than that. You're gonna want to start having your voice make more moves than
it depends on what money can do. It depends on what it is.
Money you want your voice to make more than what money can do.
I think I would, just to ensure insurance for my future generations. Once I have enough money to be content for myself, to where there's no way I can spend all of this money in a year, even if I did just.
So now you aim at generational wealth.
So build and increase that, because it's all on the shoulders of one person in one lifespan type stuff. the more work I can do in my lifespan is
It
going
can
to be
change the
compounded
whole-
by the work that my son can do in
The
his
whole cycle
lifespan.
would change.
Everything that I show him, he can build on, or he can learn faster than what it took me to learn. I'm
Yeah.
going to learn it through it, or I have learned it through experience and years. He can learn it from my mouth, and if he heeds it, he can build on that shit to get ahead of the curve 10 times faster than anything I could have done in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So by the time he's 25, he might be a fucking millionaire.
He already
To where it might take me till
Yeah.
maybe 10 more years. So, 40
That's the
years
beauty.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see.
It's like he could get it at 25. So it's like,
Yeah.
even with those thoughts, I would still be trying to work on something, or learn something, or teach him something in a way that this is going to be even more beneficial for you to carry on with.
Yeah.
So that kind of would not allow me to be satisfied, content, and stop working in that manner. But
Yes.
internally, as far as like joy, happiness, and fulfillment level, that would be top tier. That would be paramount at those points.
I can dig it.
I would not be unhappy or feeling disappointment or regret with the way I spent my life if everybody's cool, living, and we actually can communicate and like each other. Cool. I love it. That's all I ask for.
I can dig it.
Truly. That's what's up.
All right, question.